Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo and 17 were just about to put the finishing touches on their boxing match when they were completely blue-balled by none other than Little Green, aka Cell, who came to do what he does best, suck up the whole squad in an effort to become what he has dubbed the Ultimate Fighter. Putting his differences aside, Big Green stepped in on Android 17's behalf, commanding Cell to let that child alone.
Let that child alone.
Or face the consequences, as he gave all the energy he had left in a vain attempt to hold the monster off. Unfortunately though, Cell's accumulated power proved too overwhelming and Piccolo was dispatched of quickly and brutally. This left none other than Hasselhoff as our unlikely hero. He went toe-to-toe with Biobot in a face-off that was quite evenly matched. Utilizing the best techniques he learned from watching Saturday morning cartoons with the bros, 16 threw everything he had at Cell in hopes of toasting him, before he could get his robotic rocks off from absorbing his mechanical comrades. But once again, Cell proved too crafty, and using his Diglett DNA buried himself in the dirt and surprised 17. Catching him from the back and sucking him up something fierce, leading to him successfully reaching the halfway point of his so-called perfection. Following his transformation, Mid-Green stands up, pink lips outstretched to the world in a wry, cocky smirk, letting them all know what type of time he's about to be on. 16 scans his database because he knows that he's seen this horror flick before and immediately grabs the Stallion's hand, commanding her to run, because a boxing match with this new Cell is completely out of the question. But it's too late. Cell's new transformation enhances heat-seeking bitch-made pheromone detector and it led him straight to 16 and 18's location, appearing in front of them in an instant and completely deadening any chance they had at a proper escape. Y'all, I don't even want to get started on just how heat at this point in the story had me. I literally lost count of how many times both Green and 16 told this woman to escape. And it only gets worse when the Prince of all botches rolls up on the scene and gives this woman every chance in the world to run before everything goes wrong and those Super Saiyan genetics start kicking in. But I digress. I just couldn't help but point out how this literally did not have to happen, and every W Cell catches from this point on is completely on them. Up above, Tien Shinhan, who I high-key forgot was even there if I'm gonna keep it a whole stack, is observing Cell's new power and starts sweating. This man starts having an internal monologue apologizing to Chaozu, and as soon as this happens, you already know Tien is in mortal peril. Tien's Chaozu monologues are up there with the Vegeta finger point and the continuous energy wave volley as the horseman of the ass-beating apocalypse in DBZ. Back on the ground, Mid-Green has rolled up on 18, tail at the ready, but is halted mid-stroll as she points her hand at herself and orders him not to take a step closer, declaring that she has zero problems hitting that easy button Jerome installed on her chassis and self-destructing on the spot if he moves even an inch closer. Cell stares at her like you wouldn't dim a dare do something like that, and is 90% sure she's bluffing, but his protocol won't let him chance it. So rather than imploring the use of brute force, which would have been his preferred method, Cell does his best Jeff Dunham impersonation, mimicking 17's voice to a T and urging her that the best thing she can possibly do right now is become one with the Green. Cell's puppeteer act continues, accosting 18 like, come on sis, you'll love it here. There's plenty of room, it's not nearly as damp as you might think, and they even have the 1977 Buffalo Bills down here to keep us company. It's right about this time too that 16 speaks up, telling her not to fall for it, and even with literally half a brain he can tell this is some cap. My bad y'all, I forgot to mention that earlier after Tien got done writing his will, 16 attempted to duff Cell right in his ugly ass lips, but then got turned into Harvey Dent for his troubles. Cell hears Phineas Gage trying to cock block and immediately tells him to shut up, remarking on how this is a closed conversation and stating that an outdated android with a TBI is the last one that needs to be given advice on what's the right move, which I'm not gonna lie had me super weak. After silencing 16, Cell continues with his ventriloquist act, telling 18 just how good it feels to be inside the sexiest green man left on the planet and how Master Gero's buns will be absolutely glazed knowing they fulfilled their protocol and helped Cell become perfect. And it's this last proclamation that 18 snaps out of the spell, because she knows full well how much her brother could not stand being ordered around, as well as the fact that the last person in the world you would ever hear him meat riding is Gero. 17 was strictly on his Kanye timing. The only ride you're gonna catch him spinning on is his own. Cell realizes that he botched it and decides, screw the formalities, I'll just fade you the old-fashioned way then. He points out that it'll take 18 a moment to build up the necessary energy to blow herself, and with how fast he is now, it'll be easy job to snatch her up the moment before she commits to the blast and make his sister-in-law an ever-growing part of his perfection. As the two stand off, it appears that Cell's all but won, until right before Cell gets active, he senses a surprisingly large chi in the air, but by the time he peeps it, it's too late. To his absolute distaste, he's brought to his knees by an overwhelming force, and when he looks to the sky to get the name of that semi that just hit him, he sees none other than Big T throwing up the double crypt this time and showing off his Neo Kikoho as a last-ditch effort to put a dent in the Cell's reign of terror. Tien continues firing off round after round with 16 and 18 staring at him like, damn buddy, I didn't know you could do something like that this whole time. Taking a brief respite from whooping Cell's ass, Tien cranks his neck over and yells at the remaining Jonas brothers to do something semi-intelligent for once in their life and get the hell out of there. Tien screams that he took some of those gas station male enhancement pills for an extra boost, but he don't know how long it's going to be before they wear off. So if they can do the Earth a favor and get out of here while Cell's connection is still buffering, it'd be absolutely swell. And with that said, Tien continuing to fire Kikohos one after another until there's about a 9-foot deep hole in the earth where Cell used to be. Back at the lookout, Kakarot's peeping the whole exchange and is livid, pleading for Tien to stop before they get a repeat of the Saiyan saga, and that man earns himself another all-expense-paid trip to King Kai's one way. But Tien continues, assaulting Cell with all he has until every last bit of ki is exhausted and he collapses to the dirt. Now I'll be real with y'all, from the very beginning of Z, I've been absolutely roasting the Earthlings, but to be real, any of these fellas still hanging in there and showing up to brawl after the stakes have risen to what they are now, I gotta give them all the props in the world. By this point, we all know how exceptionally dirty the supporting cast gets done in Z by the time we reach this point of the story, and it only gets worse hereafter. But in this arc, it was good to see even just a few homies without Saiyan blood in their veins get a chance to flex. And if anyone deserves it, it's Tien. That boy has been diligently throwing hands since he was a card-carrying member of the Crane School and earned his moment to get his stuff off without question. See you later, Space Cowboy. Maybe after this you can find a nice cottage in the woods, meet up with Launch, and take it easy for a little while. A few moments pass, and Cell peeps that those Acme anvils will finally stop falling on his head and decides that it's safe to come up for air. Mid-Green looks around paranoid one more time to make sure he isn't missing anything, then begins to slowly walk over to Tien's exhausted body in disbelief that it was his third-string quarterback of all people that was pressing him that hard. Deciding that the best thing he can do now is smoke this dude before anyone else sees, Cell raises his hand to send Tien to that big red Mustang in the sky before he's interrupted by Goku of all people, who somehow just appeared in front of him and looks ready to knock his entire block off. Goku stares for a moment before shouting out and confirming that it's Cell. Pissed off alien continues, telling Cell that he knows for an absolute fact that there is no way he could give him the beats by Dre right now, but he promises on Bulma's BBL that if he gives him just a day to sturdy up, he'll come back and sweep this man like it's Baldy's Basics out here. Cell just stares for a moment, in disbelief that the man they've all been hunting for this entire time, 1, just vanished in front of him like it's no big deal, and 2, declared to the world that his power level is Sheik's right now, but if he gets a day to get right, the fate is inevitable. Little bro Cell has so many questions, not the least is the fact that this man Goku somehow thinks that Cell is about to just let him walk off now to let that happen in the first place. Cell does not play by chivalrous supervillain rules. This man will poison your water supply and send you smallpox blankets in the mail if it means absorbing that last android. While Cell continues to process, Goku continues to assess the battlefield, going over to Tien Shin Han to verify if he's dumb or if he's stupid, before he's caught off guard when he senses a familiar energy signature and teleports away like Nightcrawler with a three-eyed human in hand. Goku was excited to see that his instincts were right and it actually was Piccolo that he sensed. With Big Green in hand, Goku assures the wounded warriors that they'll be good in just a few moments after he takes them directly to the Plug's house to get a couple of perks in them. By this point, Semi-Perfect Green has lost all patience, stating that this man Goku has him all the way messed up if he thinks he's just gonna let him fly out of here with those losers to heal up, and begins immediately rushing towards the Saiyan. It was already too late though, as Goku makes direct eye contact with the android, flips from the bird before vanishing in the thin air and over to the lookout. On the verge of a migraine from the whole situation with Goku, Cell decides to turn his sights to his original purpose and begins taking flight to track down Android 18, believing that she couldn't have gotten too far being forced to carry Forrest Gump with her on the journey. While Cell was taking flight to find Sis, Krillin's flight was finally ending, having caught up with Bulma in mid-flight in order to get the infamous remote that could ultimately be their key to victory. Bulma gives Krillin the details, informing him that the remote only works for some reason if both parties are 10 meters close and butt-ass naked, so make sure he handles it with care. Krillin's brain immediately begins to shut down until Bulma's like, nah, I'm just playing. But you do gotta be within at least 10 meters though, hotshot, so don't forget it. Feeling exposed and with his dreams crushed, Krillin flips Bulma off and begins to make his way over to the android's last known location to shut down his one-eyedness. We now return to Goku, who has made his way back to the lookout with Piccolo and Tien in hand. After getting some senzus in him, Goku, Piccolo, and Tien begin to chop it up about Cell, with Green taking the lead on the conversation and leveling with Goku, telling him that he knows he's got hands and historically, he's been able to rise up and put whatever threat they've encountered 6 feet under. But something about this Cell dude is different. I hate to admit it, Brody, but I really think it might be curtains this time, and not even saying cheat codes are about to get us out of this one. Right as Goku was about to tell Piccolo to shut his soft ass up, they're interrupted by Wesley Snipes, who informs them that the doors to the chambers are finally opening, meaning that Trunks and the Prince of Late Arrivals are on their way out. And in just a few moments, this is exactly what occurs. Once again, y'all already know Vegeta was on his worst behavior with the theatrics, and made sure him and his son's exit from the room of spirit and time was as dramatic as possible. I'm telling y'all, I know Vegeta was in there with his son like, look boy, a proper Saiyan makes his entrance to the room known. As soon as those imbeciles out there see this door open, all eyes will be on us, and I will not have you ruining my good name. Walk as slowly as possible to show them that we're in no rush. This Cell business is just another day in the office. As you walk forward, I will stand behind you with my arms folded, showcasing my dominance and control. I promise y'all, I cannot with this man. It must have low-key worked though, because all the rest of the Z homies were standing on the outside of the chamber looking in disbelief, having no choice but to admit that those fellas look like they got to work in there. From moment T-1, Trunks was ready to spill the beans about what they got up to in there, letting the crowd know that his old man really is that guy, learning how to surpass the Super Saiyan barrier in just a couple of months. But he wasn't satisfied with just that. But before he can go any further, the prince is behind him like, if you let another sentence leave your lips, I'ma do you worse than the twins were back in your old timeline. We don't waste time telling trash the motives and machinations of royalty. Goku looks over at him smiling because deep down he knows Vegeta was in that boy getting sturdy and looks to confirm everything went to plan. Vegeta cracks a slick smile and tells Kakarot that he guesses he'll just have to wait and find out, huh? And the prince also makes sure that he mentions to the rest of the proletariat that they might as well not even bother entering the room of spirit and time now. That ish would just be a waste of time. With the way he's feeling right now, he might just go downstairs real quick and 1v4 the whole squad for the one time, just for the hell of it. At this point, Piccolo's just staring at Buddy, wishing for nothing more than to slap the taste out of his mouth. But before Green can start to get active, Kakarot's like, hold your horses, bucko, because I was just down there and I know you think you nice right now, but this Cell fellow just absorbed one of the Kardashians is even more powerful than when he first got here. Upon hearing this, all Vegeta does is laugh, and Goku can't help but look in shock like, what in the world type of time is this dude on now? Before the rest of the Z fighters can confirm if it's Cap or not, Bulma arrives bearing gifts. She's immediately thrown off course though when she sees her son, whose hair is considerably longer than just a little while ago, and he's also visibly taller. Trunks tells his mom that he went on a take your son to work field trip with his pops, and they got sturdy in the time chamber where they stayed for a year while only a day passed on the outside. Kind of like doing time in county, but less romantic. Bulma stares at her son and tells him that she's not even gonna try to unpack all that right now, when Vegeta breaks the tension and asks why the hell she's up there bothering them during important man business when she should just be baking cakes or something. Bulma claps back, asking Vegeta, alright, if we're gonna be like that, then I'll be in men's business real quick. If you were in that chamber with our son too, why the hell haven't you changed at all? I thought at least maybe one part of you would have grown a few inches or something. Wiping a single tear from his eye, Vegeta reminds her that it's not about the size of the boat, but also that once a Saiyan reaches grown-ass man status, their hair stops growing and doesn't change from then on. Bulma, feeling as though she's rocked her man's ego enough for one day, tells him that she just busting his Dragon Balls and that she came to drop off the battle armor he requested, and she brought enough extras for others up there too if they want it. Piccolo tells Bulma that he will nuke this lookout before he puts on the same battle gear that the Saiyans and Frieza's army wear. Tien's like, same honestly, y'all might have forgot about Short Stack's war crimes over here, but I definitely haven't. That man had his goons knock my whole ass arm off with his bare hands and got my best friend nuked in front of me. I'm extra good on wearing his uniform. Goku looks over at him and is like, y'all bugging. While the ethics may be questionable, the fit is not. Look how flexible this thing is. Vegeta laces up as well, telling Goku that he truly doesn't even understand why he's bothering to gear up, because this whole affair is about to be over by the time he steps foot out of that door anyway. Goku chimes in, confirming that Vegeta really thinks he's got enough dog in him to take on semi-perfect Green by himself. Vegeta doesn't even speak this time, just shoots a look over at Goku like, does a bear defecate in the woods, Kakarot? All Goku can do is be like, damn, say less, want me to teleport you? Kakarot, I would rather go to hell right now and shine Frieza's shoes than have you help me with a damn thing. And the man flies off the lookout, heading to the surface, excited for the upcoming chance to flex. Watching his father race off, Trunks decides that this is his cue to head out too, hoping to watch his old man's back before he gets himself stomped out for talking too spicy. Goku loads Trunks up with a share of perks just in case things start to get greasy down there, and tells him not to be too proud to run if the need arises, because as much as he hates to admit it, he's pretty sure this Cell fella has hands. After Bulma tells her son to make it back safe, he waves and dives off the lookout in pursuit of his pops. With the chamber now free again, Goku wastes no time and enters the room of spirit and time with his son, excited to bond with his boy in the only real way he knows how, by beating the brakes off him. On the surface, Cell stops in the air as he sees a series of islands and is convinced that 18 and Hasselhoff have to be hiding on one of them. In order to lure her out, this dude Cell does one of the most random things in the world, inflating his entire upper torso like a balloon and using that built up energy to project his voice like a megaphone, starts to roast 18 into coming out of hiding. "Where you at, 18? I guess your mama was right. Do you know who I am? I am him and I will find you." Less afraid and more annoyed, 18 sits on the island and is like, what a jackass, while chilling with 16, putting their 1.5 brains together to figure out what to do next. 16 looks over and is like, don't worry, yo. His main priority is achieving perfection. He's just bluffing that he'll nuke these islands. He's just trying to scare you out of hiding. Moments later, all you hear is the My Leg guy from SpongeBob screaming out in horror as a mushroom cloud is seen nearby, disproving 16's theory in grand fashion. As 18 looks over at him like, oh, a bluff, huh? 16 keeps his poker face, telling baby girl to relax and that Cell's only using enough power to nuke the island, but not take her out in the process. Meanwhile, internally, Hasselhoff is thinking, we are so screwed, bro. What type of time is this man on? He already is the most powerful being on the planet. At this point, he's just being extra. One by one, Cell continues eradicating city after city, and it looks as though 16 and 18 will be up to bat next. But just then, a familiar face flies in. It appears the Prince of Power Gaps has made his arrival and has plans on making Semi-Perfect Green here the crash test dummy for his newly minted Super Saiyan abilities. And right here, y'all, is where we'll call it for today. Can't lie, I am so excited for this next fight. Vegeta versus Semi-Perfect Green goes down as one of Vegeta's best matches to fattest L's in the shortest amount of time. Sometimes I really think this man is allergic to W's. Tune in next time as Vegeta finally comes face to face with Semi-Perfect Cell. Will the prince be able to make good on all his prideful boasting back on the lookout, or was all that talk just hot air and ego without the skill to back it up? Be easy, y'all, and I'll talk to you again in the next video.